Hello everyone, I'm back with a brand new video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Legends Series 15 Lex Luger. This is the chase version, this is the regular version. Both figures are pretty much identical, save for the tights, but we're going to open them both up today to explore. And again, just getting back to doing some of my wrestling, unboxing some of these figures that I've had for quite a while. And just kind of going through them. Because one, it helps me clear up my collection and kind of better organize stuff and get stuff into the bins. And plus, you all may want to see these. So we're going to get started with the chase version first. And back of the box, Lex Luger. You see the love the airbrush image of these Legends figures. Also I'm going to show you the side of this one. And you see on the back the other figures in the series: Kane, Stacy Keibler, and X-Pac. And this was Stacy Keibler before when she was in WCW. This was she had the Miss Hancock gimmick. And so, and we're gonna take a look at Lexi, as one of my boys, he calls him Lexi a lot, and it was a nickname that Hogan used to call him, during the NWO days when they were feuding, and he never forgot it, and he occasionally calls him that from time to time. And the accessories are the same with both. They come with the NWO t-shirt, red and black t-shirt. Of course, Luger was a member of the Wolfpack, and you have the 90s head scan with the longer. Actually, this was really the 90s. Actually, when I say 90s, Lex Luger's peak was in the 90s. But yeah, he had a long hair pretty much up through the end of his, I would say up till about 2000, maybe mid 2000. That's when he cut his hair into more like a crew cut style. But until then, Lex had some of the best hair. I won't say it wasn't like Shawn Michaels level hair, but really good head of hair. And of course, he had the ponytail on this figure. You see the ponytail, which is his trademark for the most part in a lot of his matches, especially when he came back to WCW in the mid 90s, around the time of the Monday Night War era. But Lex Luger, one of the biggest stars of the era, multiple time WCW World Heavyweight Champion. He didn't have as successful of a WWE run as he hoped for, or the company did, but still, the Lex Express is something that people do remember from that period. When you think back to mid 90s WWE, the Lex Express is one of those memorable moments. And the thing with Lex is that they really missed the boat on him, because he should have won the championship at SummerSlam 93. They held off on it, and then by the time 1994 came around, they went with Bret Hart, and Bret Hart was the one who ended up beating Yokozuna, and essentially they went with Bret as the leader of the new generation era. But Lex, of course, made history going to WCW, leaving WWE very unexpectedly. His contract was up, but the fact that he went on the very first episode of Nitro set this, him showing up in the crowd, that was the first firing shot, that warning shot that this was not going to be a typical wrestling war. And that set the stage for what we would see for the next, roughly 5 years of the Monday Night War. Just constant one-upsmanship, surprises. It made the Monday Night War period of wrestling must-see TV, and really it made Nitro must-see TV. Lex Luger's appearance on that first episode. So, and again, I met Lex Luger. I met him last year at WrestleCade in Winston-Salem. So, and again, Lex has been through a lot in his life. He did not have the best, fortune in regards to some of his health challenges, but he is such a positive guy just for all that he's been through physically and suffering, from I believe, was it I forgot what you call it, but basically, at one time he was pretty much paralyzed. He could not move at all, but I think he now has started to have function in his, I think he can walk a little bit now. He's done a lot of work with Diamond Dallas Page to, relearn certain skills and things. But again, for all that he's been through, and one, the fact that he's still alive, and then two, is in such good spirits, he's definitely a motivational figure to me. So I have the utmost respect for Lex Luger. So we're going to open up this one also, the regular version. And some differences with the attire, more than just, you know, the trunks. So, okay. All right. So this is the original version, and Lex Luger, of course, you know, incredible physique, and that's one thing. Lex's calling card with was his physique in the, you know, early '90s, late '80s, really, because he came on a scene in the, you know, in the '80s in, you know, NWA. But Lex was always considered to have one of the best physiques in wrestling. I would say, along with him, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, they had the best physiques of that period. And that was one reason why WCW, especially in the early '90s, well, and late '80s, that they went all the way with Luger, you know, really pushed Luger from almost the moment he came in, because they thought that he could be their answer, the NWA's answer, Jim Crockett Promotions' answer to Hulk Hogan over in the WWE. So again, here you go. And then you have the red and black boots, which goes perfectly with the red and black NWO Wolfpack t-shirt. And the Chase version, orange tights with the white boots, and this was his early, you know, early '90s look. Back during his early run in WCW, and even, you know, late '80s Jim Crockett Promotions, Lex Luger wore a lot of, you know, multicolored tights with the white boots. He didn't really start wearing the black boots until he came back in the, you know, really, he started wearing the black boots more around the mid '90s, during the, you know, his NWO Wolfpack period, and then for the rest of his career. But you never saw him wear white boots, you know, during the last years of WCW, during the last couple of years of WCW. So again, the total package Lex Luger. And then when you take this off and put on the '90s, I would say the early '90s head, this is, you know, the Lex Luger that you remember from, you know, those early Clash of the Champions and, you know, WCW Saturday Night and teaming with Sting, and, you know, so really cool. Well, you got basically two eras of Lex. And again, ironic, reviewing a WCW figure of a WCW star. He was far, I mean, Luger's legacy was made in WCW, not WWE. And of course, with the news this week of, you know, Ted Turner passing away, the owner of World Championship Wrestling, just really making me think back to, you know, my early years of fandom, because growing up, WCW was my foundation in wrestling. I just have so many vivid memories of, you know, 1990, 1991, 1992 WCW product. And again, just for Ted Turner, just for what he did in purchasing WCW, you know, really purchasing the Jim Crockett Promotions group territory, which, you know, at the time was losing tremendous money. He came in, bought them, and basically kept wrestling on his stations, TBS, for basically we got another almost 15 years. And if it was not for Jim Crockett, if it wasn't for Ted Turner, Vince's monopoly over the business would have started much sooner. It would have started really in 1987, 88. So again, without Turner, wrestling history will look so much different. And so again, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Lovely weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And even if you're not a biological mother, if you're a stepmom, if you're an aunt, a teacher, any woman who has played a motherly figure in the life of another person, to me, you're a mom just as much as a biological mom is. So again, hope you all have a great Mother's Day, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Take care, and I will see you again after a while. Peace.